Welcome back to the Power of the W. We live in a world that praises exhaustion, where I just have to make it through this week, this month, this quarter, becomes a mantra instead of a warning sign. Somewhere along the way, rest turned into something we earn, a reward for pushing past our limits, rather than what it actually is, a requirement for being human, creative, and whole. Today's conversation is all about rest, recovery, and reimagining grind culture. Our guest, Dr. LaDrina Wilson, joins us to challenge the conspiracy of busyness and shares how you can build a successful, meaningful career without tying your worth to constant productivity. Dr. Wilson unpacks why rest is not a reward, but a necessity, and how her own personal story has deeply influenced how she views work, rest, and self-worth. This is a conversation that invites you to slow down, question the hustle, and imagine a version of success that doesn't require burnout to prove your value. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Power of the W podcast, a space where we inspire, educate, and celebrate the incredible strength and resilience of women from all walks of life. In each episode, we'll dive into the stories, experiences, and insights of amazing women who are making their mark in the world. From personal development and career success to health, wellness, and entrepreneurship and beyond, we're here to uplift, empower, and fuel your journey to greatness. So get ready to embrace the power of the W. LaDrina, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Of course, never a problem. I love an opportunity to connect with organizations that are doing really good work, but also new faces and community members. So nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you. You've been on my list for a while to contact you. So I've heard great things about you.
Oh, good. I'm glad you qualified that they were great. Because there could be other things too.
No, yeah. How is your new year going?
Oh, gosh. I would say that my new year thus far has been really reflective, but also productive. And I'm very careful about how I answer that. One of the things that I've been focusing on going into this year is kind of rejecting this idea of busyness as a badge of honor. And so I can tell you, like, you'll probably, like, now that I'm saying this, you'll pay attention when you start talking to people. Like, people like, oh, how you doing? Oh, just really busy. And it's like...
Oh, I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really describe how you're doing.
No.
And it also doesn't really describe what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's just this very, like, ambiguous phrase that we use as a filler.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that.
Oh, my God. And I've never thought of that. But I say that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just busy. Yeah. Just busy.
I also notice that people will say, when you run into somebody that you haven't seen for a while, they'll say things like, are you keeping busy? Like, it's just this weird...
Like, you're supposed to be keeping busy. Like,
yeah, like
if
that's the only option.
Yes, yes. And if you're not, you're failing.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's this underlying tone that busyness equals success or accomplishment. And I would say that right now, obviously we're early in the year, but I'm building on the momentum that I have professionally from last year. And sure, I'm busy, but that's not how I want to describe it. Productive, reflective, proactive is how I'm rolling into this year.
I love it. So you kind of touched on some of the things that we're going to talk about, but when you hear the phrase like grind culture, like what comes up for you, like personally and not just professionally?
Yeah, so I feel like this has evolved in my own understanding, both personally and professionally. I can remember when I stepped into one of my first executive role, and anybody who knows me, I'm an early riser. So anywhere from 3:30 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. is like my sweet spot of when I'm waking up and then actually like immediately doing things. Yeah. Like, I'm not laying in bed, like, staring at the ceiling, I'm up and at 'em.
Oh, my gosh.
So, I can remember I hadn't mastered the art yet of, like, the delayed send on your email. So I'm, like, sending notes to my staff, just whatever's in my brain, like, almost like a brain dump. And I remember one of my staff who was twice my senior, like, she was my parents' age, but she was on my team. Her saying something to me when I talked to her about a particular project, and she said something about, like, well, I have a life not like you. Like, she was implying that, like, my work was my life. And at the time I had 3 kids, and now I have 4. But I'm like, I definitely have a life. I just am part of this grind culture that was a big part of my identity. So when I hear grind culture, I hear it as something that is celebrated. We'll sleep when we're dead. I'll make it, if I just make it through this week or this month or this, particular, and then you get this reward of rest. So I think there is this celebration or misconception around what the cost is of grind culture that I'm kind of abandoning as I continue to build in my career and in my profession.
You just brought it up, but I'm guilty of it where I've said this. I just gotta make it through the week. Just gotta make it through a month. Like, where do you think like this survival mindset comes from?
Well, I think it's a learned behavior. That's part of the broader culture. Without getting like too political, I think it's connected to like capitalism, efficiency, effectiveness, productivity, right? So like you go to college to be this well-rounded, productive adult. Like what does that even? What does it mean like so many different versions of being an adult are not connected just totally productivity. Like we're not machines. But when I say it, I think it's part of what we're taught. You're younger than me. I can look at you and tell. Okay, bask in the ambience of that for now. But anyway, you may recall, or listeners who are my age may recall, a time when you would take a test. You'd get 60 math problems on a sheet of paper, and you had to get them done in 60 seconds. As many as you could in 60 seconds. So this kind of efficiency, not mastery, but like how much can I get done in a short amount of time, is connected to grind culture. Or the idea that you raise your hand and you're a second grader and you say, may I go to the restroom? And the answer is like, well, we're going to go in 15 minutes. So just sit tight. I mean, do you ever remember any of that? Yeah. And your body is sending you a signal that it's time to relieve yourself. But the teacher is telling you, this work is more important. You can wait. You can hold on. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Have you ever gone through a work day and then gotten to the end of your day, either at the office or when you hit the door at home and realize that like you didn't go to the bathroom all day?
Yeah. Or sometimes like I didn't even eat,
Right. Or if you do eat, you eat at your desk while you're working.
That's literally me every day. I eat through my lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging that.
No. Yeah.
But I am saying that grind culture will have us to believe that productivity is king. Productivity is directly correlated to success. What I'm wanting people to think about is when you give your brain a chance to just relax, recover, recoup, how much more productive do you think you actually could be if you're not running on fumes?
Yeah. So have you personally noticed that change when you started to make a change in mindset? Like, do you notice like that your productivity is better? Like, what changes have you noticed with yourself?
So I think what I've noticed is, one, giving people by me trying to model it anyway, I'm giving people the grace and the space to recognize that you are more than just whatever you produce. And like, we're multifaceted individuals. I think that my relationship with my children is improving because I'm able to be more present, because I'm rested, I'm efficient at work. I feel like I'm efficient at work, but not so committed to like produce. I'm still producing though, right? But it's not. It's like a changing the frame of reference, a paradigm shift, if you will. I find that I find more joy in the work that I'm doing when I'm able to do it from a place of recovery. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I still don't sleep 8 hours. I'm working on that. My body is not wired that way.
Yeah.
I think I get it from my dad. He functioned on very little sleep, but I am prioritizing stillness.
Yeah.
Having I take a 15-minute break. Like, most people don't even do that, right? Like, I take a couple of 15-minute breaks during the day, and I also, which shouldn't be revolutionary, by the way. Like, let's just like, that just clearly underscores how grind culture is. But I got some chickens. I'll go sit in my backyard and like literally, not today, it's like -37. But when the weather permits, I will literally get my feet in the grass in the middle of the workday. I mean, I have the luxury of working from home. When I'm not working from home and I'm out in the community or meeting with people, I invite people not to a lunch meeting, but for like a walk. Like if we can do a walking meeting by the river, or if we can be outdoors, like I am trying to get back to those human experiences that actually make us whole and well, and that aren't just centered on productivity, but do impact your productivity. So yeah, I see a shift in how I connect to people and the work that I'm doing.
Wow. Was there like a particular moment where you were like, okay, I need to like maybe start looking at things differently and doing things differently? Or like what made you want to start changing your mindset when it comes to this?
Is there a particular moment? Absolutely. Should there have been other moments? Yeah, like when I reflect on it, I'm like, oh wow, you did that. So, like, this is a little uncomfortable for me to talk about just because there's going to be parts of this probably that sound like I'm bragging. It's not. I'm just trying to be candid. So I graduated from college. I had my first child when I was in college. I was 21. I graduated in 3.5 years with a double major.
Wow.
And a baby.
Yeah.
So I've always had this connection. I've always been bought in, right, to this grind culture. Immediately within 5 days, I was back working out and like just trying to. I couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
I couldn't with an infant.
Yeah.
And granted, I was young, so you have a lot more energy.
Yeah, you have a lot more energy then. Yeah.
Then I fast forward again, and I can remember being working on my master's degree. And at the time I had 3 kids, and I remember my oldest, she was about 10 years old, and she goes, "So you're back in school, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Gosh, that just looks really hard. I don't know if I'm going to do it that way." Meaning, like she's like, "I think I'll wait to have kids and like do it differently." So I never stopped. I never paused. I never tried to reframe my life, or I just kept pushing through. And we're teaching our kids certain things when we are doing that. I don't think I did it the wrong way. I just know that there are other ways.
Yeah.
And I think the final tipping point, then I went on to get my PhD, and I had 3 kids, and I don't even remember like sleeping. I missed a lot of things. I'd be on the soccer field with like my work computer and my books for school, and it's like present but not present.
Yeah.
It's like being a ghost.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the room but I'm not in the room. And I think the final tipping point was I don't know if you know this, but I served as a CEO for the Quad Cities Chamber while also running my business. And I had some pretty significant health issues. Turned out to be a thyroid thing. But what I didn't realize was I was like, I'm just like, I'm super stressed. I'm tired. I'm like, this is time bound. I'll get through this. Like that whole, I just gotta get through this week. And then I got to a certain point, I realized my kids had been to the dentist twice for their, semi-annual exams. My husband had been to his appointments and I'd scheduled those. My dogs had been to the vet for their annual exams. And I hadn't had any of my checkups.
Yeah. You're taking care of everyone but you.
Yeah, and when you say it like that, it sounds really bad, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
And how good are you to everybody when you've got nothing left for yourself? Right,
exactly. It's funny because you talked about it, but like a lot of this is learned behavior, and I would say like in the last couple of years, I've been really trying to like slow down a little bit because working full time, having kids, that's a full-time job, and like I kept finding myself, I'd come home stressed. I'm not being present with my children. They're not getting the best version of me because like I'm not taking the time to like slow down and rest. Right. And then like when I look back at it, like that's what I've learned from my mom. I mean, she never took a moment for herself. And so I'm trying to be better about that because I see, like, I want my kids to know that it's okay.
Right.
It's okay to do that. Like, that's what you should do. I love when you say that rest isn't something that we earn, you know?
Right. I've been talking a lot about this, particularly on LinkedIn. I think that we have this notion that rest is a reward. Not a requirement. And so we almost are like, we are bought in even to this like conspiracy of busyness that includes productive distractions. Like I could take a nap, but I also have like this laundry that needs to be done, right? Like, are these like, and it's like the laundry's still going to be there.
Yeah.
If you wait till tomorrow, like, I mean, like, don't put it off for like ever.
Right.
But
then we feel, and then we are so hard on ourselves and guilty because like, I have this conversation with my coworkers. They're like, no, I can't sit down. Like I have to do laundry or I have to do dishes. Like, and then if we do just like sit down to like read a book or just take like even 5 minutes, we feel guilty because we're not doing something.
Right. But and the reality of it is, it's not just a body thing. Like I'm not a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
But our brains actually, this is necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so one of the, I go back to my chickens. I don't know if I'm having like a midlife crisis or something. Because
How many chickens do you have?
I have 3.
Okay.
I started with 7. That's a whole nother podcast.
Okay. I will bring you back to talk about the 7 chickens.
5 of them were roosters, and you cannot have roosters in town.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So what I've learned from this slowing down is, like, we are actually, we like to think of ourselves as very like sophisticated and but we're primal beings. We are animals at our heart. Mm-hmm. And I watch my chickens. They know exactly when to go roost. They know when to go in for rest. They follow the cadence of the sun. They know when it's getting dark that it's time to go up high and get to a safe place. And so as I watch them, these animals that are far less sophisticated than us, they're following their natural patterns. They're following what the sun and the environment is telling them to do. And then they come back out the next day and they do it all over again. And I had to ask myself, when do I create space for me to just go to a place of safety? When do I know when it's time to rest? And have I been so caught up in this grind culture that I forgot that I'm not listening to the signals that my body is sending? And I thank God that we have the primal instincts that we have, but are we actually listening to them?
Yeah. How do you define rest beyond sleep or time off?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've kind of given some examples, like just taking a minute to just take a beat and like be present in your body. And it can be just breath work. Sarah Stevens, if you haven't brought her on to talk, she does amazing work with this. I'm certainly not an expert, but just thinking about, what does it feel like when I breathe in? What does it feel like when I breathe out? There are times when I realize, like, I'm actually not even breathing. I'm so caught up in this. It's not like I'm holding my breath.
Right.
But it's
yes.
Like I haven't been breathing at a pace that is consistent because I'm stressed and I'm tense.
Yes.
So it could be breath work. It could be taking little breaks. It could be saying, you know what? It's 3:00 on Thursday and I've got nothing left and I'm supposed to be off at 4:30. But I know that whatever I work on that would normally take me 15 minutes is probably going to take me 35 because I'm just beat.
Right.
And getting up and walking away from it.
Yeah.
Now, it's not lost on me. I started my own company. I have my own business. I report to me. And I know that people don't always have that luxury. So I think it's the responsible thing to do is to think about what rest looks like to you. Mm-hmm. It might be allowing your brain to just check out for a little bit and doing a crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
It might be deciding I'm going to take a 10-minute walk every 2 or 3 hours just to let my body do what it needs to do and not be sitting at a desk or not be standing on a line. Like I might have an active break. Yeah. Right. So I think it can take many forms, but what it's not is productivity.
Yeah.
It's not producing. It's not, hyper connectivity to an outcome. It's just physical, either stillness or presence of mind to just be with you. And I think we struggle with that. And I think even a younger generation even struggles with it because it's also not like being on this. Yeah. It's not like, oh, let me take 15 minutes and just in between meetings scrolling. It's not. Yeah. That's still stimulating your mind. And your mind needs a reset. Yeah.
I guess what do you think are some practical ways that someone can start building their rest into their career now, not after they make it? Because like, for a lot of people, this is going to take some time. And it's going to be hard for some people to like make these changes because that's just what they've been doing. So like, what do you think are just some like easy, practical ways they can just start incorporating this into their life like right now?
So I really appreciate that question because I have also toyed around with the idea that am I like romanticizing this from a place on high? You know, like I've been able to do a lot of things professionally and achieve some of my personal goals academically and things that I've done with my family. So now I'm at like at this window where I can be like, oh, you should do this. And really it's not. When I interrogate that thought, it's not. I see the opportunity for people at different points in their career to make decisions. And I think it starts early actually around creating what your boundaries are for you and your work.
Yeah.
In terms of your output and what your work pace and cadence is, depending on what type of work you do, right?
Yeah.
Like if you work in a factory and you're on a line, you probably have somebody else who creates the pace and cadence, right? But you decide if you're going to take the overtime. You know, you decide if you are how you're going to use your breaks. If you have a break, you're going to decide, am I going to accumulate all this vacation or am I going to use it?
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who do. There's Pew Research has, and I don't want to misquote the data, but like go out and check it out. Pew Research has a lot of information on how much PTO goes unused.
Yeah.
There are people who decide they're not going to use it because it will create pressure and tension for people who are working when they take off. So they don't want to inconvenience their colleagues. Right? It's going to delay they're not even going to enjoy their vacation because they're going to be thinking about what's coming back to them when they come back.
They're still going to be checking emails, responding to emails.
Right. And those are the boundaries that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, do you respond to emails at 8:00 at night?
Yes.
You can.
You can. And this is so funny you bring this up because I'm in the leadership cohort through the Quad Cities Community Foundation.
Yeah.
And we had our first session last week and someone brought up boundaries, especially when it comes to the workplace. And I used to be very bad about this. I would respond to emails like even not at work all the time. Yeah. And then I got to the point where I was like, I'm not doing it. If it's an emergency, of course, like someone will text or call me and I will address it. But if it's not something that needs to be addressed right then and there, I will respond to you when I'm at work the next day, you know? So yeah, I think it goes back to you deciding like what boundaries what you're gonna set for yourself.
Yeah. I also think it's connected to expectations as well, right? So you're not a robot, you're not a machine. There's a realistic amount of work that can be produced and still preserve some degree of balance. I don't even want to call it work-life balance. I mean just like homeostasis within your body without you constantly be in this kind of fight or flight mode. Cortisol spikes and all these other things that happen that we don't necessarily feel happening when they're happening, but over the long haul they create thyroid issues, right? But what I mean by expectations is, you know, someone, a supervisor, a colleague may approach you about a particular project. I think it's important to think about what you can deliver while still preserving yourself. And I think we give up so much of ourselves for the purpose of productivity. And so like think phrases that you can incorporate to let people know, you know, I know this is what the intended outcome is. You can expect to have this, you know, this at this level of accomplishment or this level of quality in this much time. Like being realistic about what your time limitations are, to preserve your boundaries. And the more you can do that earlier in your career, we teach people how to treat us. Right? And so the more you can do that earlier in your career and set the tone, people will know how to navigate you.
Right.
And so I've watched people like that staff person that told me like, well, I have a life unlike you, right? I figured out how to delay my emails. So like I realized that for some people that was sending a certain message, or for other people it created pressure where they felt like they had to respond because I was around the clock. So now when my staff is off, I if they're on vacation, I'll delay the email till when they come back. Doing those types of things and not just doing it for yourself and telling people this is what you want, but also honoring that for other people creates a culture that's not a grind culture. It's a culture that's around, we can do really cool stuff. We can be very productive, but also protective of our peace and protective of what our bodies actually need.
Can we talk about people's gifts? Because I think you also kind of have a very interesting take on this as well. I've seen like where sometimes your gift can feel like it's a problem, but it might just be because you're not in the right role or environment, and that when you do find that, you realize, oh, that's actually a gift. Can you talk about that a little bit and your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm also going to connect it back to this idea of rest too, and productivity. When you take more time to be present with yourself, you can better connect to what your gifts are. And that is a way of getting toward efficiency and effectiveness, which the workplace loves. Efficiency and effectiveness, right? I think that gifts are interesting. There are some things that either you have or you don't. And there are things that you can be taught over time. But if you have a gift, with that gift, there's also another kind of like the polarizing side of it that maybe has some negative sides to it. I'll use me as an example. I was the kid that always got the check mark on the report card for talks excessively.
Yeah.
I would often get credit for talking when other people were talking, even when I was in school. That wasn't the right gift for that space.
Yeah.
And now I'm a paid keynote speaker. Right?
Yeah.
And so what I think is important to do is to think about, first of all, what makes you unique? What is your special talent that you can lean into and cultivate? But also, how do you do the work of finding the right environment that appreciates that? And so I think a lot of times wisdom, longevity in a role, or people who have done work and have a lot of experience, I don't take that for granted. I think those are great things, but those aren't gifts. That's seniority. And I think that sometimes employers and workplaces can mistake institutional knowledge for talent or gifts. And I think there's a lot of emerging talent that gets overlooked because of seniority or institutional knowledge. But that's also because sometimes people in that emerging talent space haven't really identified what their gifts are. So if you could slow down and do the work, the self-discovery, and do the recovery and the reset, go back to those places, whether that's journaling, reflecting, and kind of thinking about, where am I best? When am I at my best? When am I in my zone of competency or versus my zone of excellence? Asking the people around you, when do you see me excel? That'll better help you identify like what your gifts are if you're not sure. And then you can compare that to the environment that you're in to see if your gifts are really the asset for that, the currency of that particular organization.
Yeah. Can we like get into your personal story a little bit? You just mentioned it, but you are a nationally recognized keynote speaker. And you have kind of expanded your keynote speaking rooted to your personal story. What made you feel ready to share like that story more publicly?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what the catalyst was. I've wanted to talk about some of the things that I've experienced in my childhood and in my upbringing that I do think are rooted in why I was like very bought into the grind culture. A lot of different adverse childhood experiences, from substance abuse in the home, domestic violence in the home. My father was incarcerated at one point, and I could keep going down the list.
Right.
I don't necessarily need to do that for today. Come to a keynote and maybe go here. I do think that there is something to be said about statistically where I'm at, and being in that kind of rare percentage of people who are able to pursue and earn their PhD and move into executive leadership positions, and where I should be based on adverse childhood experiences.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to imply that I'm special or unique in that way. About 1 in 5 people have some type of at least one adverse childhood experience.
Yeah.
About 18% of people have at least 4 to 5 adverse childhood experiences. Oh, I did that wrong. 64% of people have at least one adverse childhood experience. I mean, that could be somebody smoking in the home. It could be divorce. It could be, any number of things. When I go down the list, mine is in the double digits. And what happened for me was I channeled that into my academics, my athletics. I was a student athlete. I was a pregnant student athlete. That's a whole nother podcast. But
I think we've listed like 5 different topics. We're just going to have
we're just keep coming back, right? People will get bored quickly. But I had the presence of mind, and I had the supportive community system around me that helped me recognize I was more than just those experiences. And I think that people, it is not unnatural for us to have different traumatic experiences and go back to that place and have it be a core quality or characteristic of who we are. And what I'm trying to do in this keynote speaking is I believe these things happen for a reason. And I'm better positioned now in my self-awareness to help people understand, yes, that was a chapter in your past, but you're the author of your book. Whatever that thing was that happened, whatever those things were that happened, we do actually have a decision to make at a certain point of like, do we want that to define us, or do we want that to be the thing that propels us forward?
Yeah.
But it does come through support and community too.
Yeah. And you just answered my next question, like, what would you say to someone to, because like you said, sometimes people don't end up pushing through it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, I love that quote that you gave. Before we like wrap up, I saw that you are going to start a podcast.
Yeah, it's already going.
Oh, it is. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I'm working with the Des Moines Business Record and their publication. They have multiple podcasts, but the one that I'm working on is the Fearless podcast. It's helping women in work excel in work and life.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we tell, we position women in Iowa in particular to tell their stories. We've done segments on imposter syndrome and women making history now, which was one of my favorites. Ella Schmidt, who essentially spearheaded women's wrestling in Iowa.
Yeah.
She was an internationally known and a ranked wrestler, but couldn't wrestle girls in Iowa.
Yeah.
So she had an interesting story about what she's done in the last 5 to 10 years, and she's only 21 or 22. We've done an episode that'll launch soon on childcare and the implications of the decisions that women have to make, but also what roles employers should be playing. And like, this is a workforce issue.
Yeah.
And the list goes on. We're going to be recording, I think, next month on a topic on negotiations and how women can better position themselves for, to create those boundaries and to get those packages and incentives that they want. So really, we're just trying to create a space where women can tell their stories. Sometimes those stories are rooted in success. Sometimes those stories are rooted in struggle that turns into success. And what makes me most proud about that work is just really trying to create a platform where we celebrate each other. There's a lot of heaviness around us in the world right now. And this is a space of levity, a space of inspiration, but also tactical approaches to kind of dive into whatever your next level is. So I'm really proud of the work that we're doing. Emily Woods and Macy Schulroth are my co-hosts, and we're having a great time.
So how often do your podcasts come out? Where can people listen to it?
So we're on all platforms,
Nice.
wherever you get your podcast. So I listen on Spotify.
Yeah.
We're on Apple and all the other platforms. We release a new episode once a month. I think we have 4 or 5 that are out right now. And so I just encourage people to go find us on the Fearless podcast, and then also subscribe so that you can get a notification when it comes out.
Why do you think it's so important for women to share their stories and have a voice?
Well, that's a very complex question. I'm going to try to I think on a surface level it seems like it wouldn't be that complex of a question, but I think there's historical implications. I think there are real things that I've seen in real time in the workforce that reinforce how we choose or feel like we can use our voice. And if we don't tell our stories, they will only be told from a certain vantage point. So, data shows and tells us that women are less likely to speak up in a room if there are, more men in the room. We're less likely to, we might raise our hand and be the first one to put our hands down after they say no more questions, but our male colleagues will keep their hands up. We are, I even prefaced my statement about like the things that I've accomplished with this kind of like, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging. And I don't, but we're taught to be kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but you know what I mean? Like we're taught to be kind of demure when it comes to these types of things. We have a confidence gap when we're compared to our male counterparts. They will speak freely on things that maybe they have limited information on, whereas we are more inclined to fall back wait till we have more information, even though we could be a thought leader.
Yeah.
So for me, as someone who's like, well, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, I want to be able to position women to tell their stories so they don't sound like they're bragging, but they also get their credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of my motivation behind it.
Yeah, I love that. One last thing. If you could leave listeners with one truth about rest, work, and worth, what would it be?
You're more than what you produce. I think it's great to be able to produce, but how you connect to the people that are important in your life is what people remember. They don't remember how fast you were able to produce that report. They don't remember how often you met that deadline. They don't remember that you sent the email at 8 p.m. as opposed to 8 a.m. during working hours. But they will remember how you made them feel. They will admire, like, wow, you were able to have it all together at work and still prioritize these other things. Like, we need to model for each other that you can be very productive, but you're more than what you produce.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah. Thank you so much. I love this conversation. I thought you gave a lot of great advice, and definitely, like, you have me thinking about things in a different way. So thank you so much. And we're definitely going to have you come back on because I need to know about this chicken story.
Well, I will tell you what. If we do that, I will bring you eggs. I get green eggs. One of my hens lays green eggs.
Oh my gosh.
So the whole time I thought Dr. Seuss was green eggs and ham, literally green scrambled eggs. No, the egg shell is green. So I'm learning as I become an urban farmer.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Power of the W podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. For more updates, follow us on social media or visit our website at www.ywcaqc.org. We'll catch you next time right here on the Power of the W. Thanks for listening to the Power of the W podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. For more updates, follow us on social media or visit our website at www.ywcaqc.org. We'll catch you next time right here on the Power of the W.